Yo, Thought Warriors. What's up? Higher Learning's on. It's Ivan Lathan Jr.
And it's me, Rachel and Lindsay.
Joy Taylor is here, but she's not involved in this part of the show. We have an interview with Joy coming up where she talks about how much she loves men. So be very interesting. I gotta say one thing though.
Can I not be involved with this
You don't
part
want
of
to
the
be
show either?
You don't be involved in this?
Go ahead.
As we were doing this, we had a great conversation with Joy. It's very wide-ranging. It's a long conversation. We're going to get to that in a second. But as we were coming on to do the podcast, something happened. We don't have anything Trump and Epstein for you. There'll be more on that probably next Tuesday. But Hulk Hogan died. Hulk Hogan passed away at age 71. I think it was a heart attack. I do have to say something about Hulk Hogan. Rachel, you don't want to say anything about Hulk Hogan.
I don't feel anything. I mean, yes, I grew up on wrestling, but not Hulk Hogan. We talked about this. My dad was really big on wrestling. The Ric Flair, the Dusty Rhodes, the Stings.
Joy,
that was
any
more
Hulk
of his
Hogan
thing.
memories?
Thunderlips?
I didn't see the movie. But when I think of Hulk Hogan, I think of one thing. I'm not a movie person.
Joy.
I've seen the first one.
Okay. Just because I'm not going to do anything but get angry. All right. There's a lot of things happening. This is what I'll say about Hulk Hogan. And I mean this very sincerely. There's a term that people use. The term is a life well lived. And what that allows you to do is when somebody passes away, to contextualize their life as a life well lived, in a sense. And you normally say that when people have had a positive effect on their community, their family, and their friends. It angers me that I cannot say that about Hulk Hogan. You cannot say a life well lived. Hulk Hogan was a hero to me as a child. A hero. You watch wrestling, in the wrestling boom of the golden age of the WWF in the 1980s, and he was a larger-than-life figure. He was a superhero. You hear the theme, Real American. You know the Hulkster's coming down the aisle. He's going to rip the shirt. He's going to do this. All of that stuff. But as you got older, you started to learn some truths. Hulk Hogan was, at one point in his life, at least from what we heard on that tape, a virulent racist. He was consistently a selfish, self-centered performer as a wrestler. He was someone who tried to undermine the union of professional wrestlers. It's a story that came out in the Vince McMahon documentary that just came out that the wrestlers were thinking of unionizing. Wrestling is a grueling, taxing profession. And Hulk got wind of it, and he went and told Vince McMahon on the rest of the wrestlers because Hulk Hogan was a company man. The more I learned about him, the more I realized that Hulk Hogan's life was not a life well lived. I'm sure that there are people who love him. I'm sure that the wrestling community will mourn. But I'm mad at him even more now that I can't remember him fondly. And this is a reminder to people that as you are living your life from day to day, no matter what you accomplish, no matter what you are able to accrue, no matter what type of person you are as far as how you're lauded or thought of, that one day people will remember you for how you treated them. They will remember you for the space that you took up inside of their life. They will remember you for the way you looked at the rest of humanity. And I can hope for you guys that when you die, people say that your life was well lived because Hulk Hogan's wasn't. All right, let's get to the show. If you guys see there, Joy Taylor is holding the dog. Brownie's here. Joy Taylor is here on Higher Learning. Brownie's here as well.
Brownie, a regular on the podcast.
Rachel has brought the dog to the interview.
It's my child.
It's fantastic. Joy, what's up?
What's up? I'm so excited to be here.
We are so happy to have you.
What took me so long?
Yeah.
Outrageous.
It is. We're pals of yours, but you have gone on an unparalleled podcast run and you are finishing up with Higher Learning.
Yeah. This is true. Wow. But I mean, I needed an invite. I'm not going to invite myself on the show.
Why the podcast run?
It wasn't really intentional. I mean, people have been asking to talk. Brownie. And yeah, I'm that's what I do. I talk. So
go there. So is this your first interview since Fox has made their announcement about the show?
No. This will, well, I don't, depends on when this is posting.
Tomorrow.
Okay, then yes. This isn't the first interview I've done. It's the first interview I've done since the second announcement about Barstool. Yes.
Oh, so there've been two big Fox announcements. One has been the fact that Fox, see?
He's happy.
Amazing. Amazing.
Is that picking up on the microphone? Okay.
Do you want me to put him down?
No, he's fine.
It's fine.
Brownie.
He's pretending to be.
I'm not. The show
sorry, he has a collapsed trachea. He's getting activated.
Has a potential that it could get to, and we're always going to be right under it.
Absolutely incredible. Okay, what was the question?
Fox announced that it was clearing its old slate of shows, and then it added Barstool.
Yes.
I'm sure you have thoughts on both. First of all, from the fact that your show and The Facility and some of the other shows were canceled by Fox or not renewed, what were your thoughts on that?
I mean, it wasn't entirely surprising. But I mean, I've been in the business for almost 20 years now, so these things happen. I was caught off guard, but there's changes with the network every single year. I think the lineup has honestly been different over there every single year that I've been there. So, yeah, I mean, I think everyone's waiting for some big emotional reaction from me. I would assume if anyone follows me at this point, that's not really my style. Much more of a slow kill, but I'm still processing everything that's happened. I don't even honestly know. I was saying yesterday that I haven't really even felt like I haven't been there because I was going to be off a lot this month anyway. We had a lot of dark days and I'm going on vacation. So I haven't really felt the breakup in the normalcy of being in the studio every day yet. So maybe when that happens, I'll have a different emotional reaction. But I'm also not somebody that has really deep attachments to like corporations or places. It's more to experiences. Obviously, the people that I worked with there and, developed great friendships with and had, the honor of working with really talented people. And the other people behind the scenes that were let go, that's more where my thoughts immediately went. Because, we talk about this in sports all the time when coaches get fired, that people immediately only talk about like the head coach, but there's an entire staff of people that get let go as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's their network. They have a right to make changes whenever they want to. And my time there wasn't going to be infinite. So, yeah, I don't know that I have a really like big thing to say about it.
But do you feel like, well, one, I know you're still processing your emotions.
Yeah.
But the immediate question I think of is, how are you doing? Just period. Because it's been a crazy 2025. And then the second part is, do you feel like you have to be a certain way? Like, do you feel like you have to be hard or that you can't express your emotions?
I think that the type of person that I am, I like to wait until I've decided how I feel about something to share. And everyone is different in that way. Like some people like to talk about it right away, get their emotions out. They have thoughts, they have anger. And I have all of those things. But what I don't like is saying things that I regret and then having to clean it up later, because people always remember the first thing that you say about something. And then that becomes the story. And I think it also does a disservice to my career. I think it does a disservice to what I did at FS1 in 9 years at a national network and being one of the only women in the opinion space to just blow up about it. And also, like, I'm not trying to, diminish it, but this is the business. Like, shows get canceled all the time for a variety of reasons. And if it was just my show, then that'd be a different conversation. But there were 3 shows canceled. So it's obvious that the network wanted to go in a different direction. And we'll all end up being fine.
Do you think that the network would have gone in that direction if not for the lawsuit and other things that happened this year?
No, I don't think it had anything. I don't think it absolutely had nothing to do with the lawsuit.
Oh, nothing to do with it.
It absolutely had nothing to do with the lawsuit.
So what do you think the reason was that they pivoted? Because the Barstool thing is a gigantic pivot, in my opinion.
Well, it is a gigantic pivot, which means it was not hatched overnight.
They had to be thinking about it for a while.
Yeah. And that is well above my pay grade. So I have no inside information as to how that went down, except for my brain and working in the business and knowing how long it takes to put those deals together. That did not happen overnight, but also it had nothing to do with the lawsuits. 2 other shows were canceled. So if it was just my show, then perhaps that could be the story. But the other shows had nothing to do with the lawsuit.
Well,
I am the only person that had anything to do with the lawsuit. And I am telling you, it had nothing to do with the lawsuit.
So let's talk about that, because you're right. 3 shows were canceled. But the story seems to be you and your show were canceled. How does that make you feel, seeing headlines that were directed towards you, or that you were the face of every social media post, every article, as opposed to there were multiple people who lost their hosting positions and their shows?
Well, I think I look best on the graphic.
Just from an aesthetic?
From an aesthetic
you're the hottest
standpoint, I'm the best looking, obviously. Right. And I think that goes without debate. But, from the gossipy places, I get it. Like, we all work in this business, so I get that part of it. The more established, respected reporters, it's disappointing, because you're no different. You're clickbait, because it's not the story. The story actually is that a massive network is pivoting in a very distinct direction and changing the format and formula for their programming. So if you're reporting on media, that's actually like a very big, interesting story. I think it changes the landscape of the business in a very dramatic way. From a business standpoint, it could make a lot of sense when you're talking about, efficiency and saving money. But that's what real reporters and real journalists are supposed to be writing about. Again, the suit had nothing to do with it, and I think that, to me, is obvious from the story. Like, the story was not about me.
Yeah.
So I mean, so that part is frustrating, because I expect more from journalists, but I guess at this point, where are the real journalists anymore?
I'm trying to pull it apart and de-TMZ my mind, because I don't know that I agree with that.
Okay.
I think that normally, let's say that this were, like, let's take the lawsuit and everything out of it. Let's say that this were, I don't know, it's CBS Good Morning or whatever. And they were removing a lot of their people, and Gayle King was one of them. I think the story there for a lot of people would be the fact that Gayle King is no longer on the show, because she's become something that's kind of bigger than the show. And for whatever reason, the story that came out of all of the shakeups at Fox at the beginning of it was kind of, you were the flashpoint for that. So I think people were waiting for some sort of resolution to it, because I know you. So I know everything that was happening for you and behind the scenes of that.
Correct.
Right? But I think most people were waiting to see if it was just going to be business as usual at Fox after everything happened. And they looked at that decision by the network as closing the loop on a gigantic story. So I think a lot of people that probably chased that story probably went, oh, this is closure to the entire Joy Taylor thing that happened at the beginning of the year.
What did Breakfast Ball have to do with it?
Breakfast Ball, unfortunately, in that situation, was not the story.
No. The story I get.
Yeah.
And the headlines I get.
Right.
All of that, I'm in agreement with you on. Like,
Breakfast Ball is a terrible name for a fucking show.
My point
Just
is,
to let you know, they're not naming these shows right.
My point is,
the facility.
My point is,
it was actually
for
a cool show.
For the initial story, yes, obviously. And there's also a side note. Don't let me forget it because my brain's not working yet. For the initial story, yeah, I'd be the headline.
Yeah,
but it isn't the story. 3 shows were canceled, and now that we know the announcement of the pivot, it's only logical that that is what the story was about, that the network is going in a massively different direction for their programming and who they're bringing in and their affiliate. It's very obvious to me that it has nothing to do with the suit, but also it has nothing to do with the suit.
What do you think?
Also, the other part, that before I forget, what I find remarkable about the headlines and the coverage of it is that every day I hear how women don't belong in sports and that we don't really have a footprint in sports. We're not really relevant. Like, we're like begging for a seat at the table. And 3 shows, some pretty important people got canceled, and I am the biggest story. The only woman at the network. Not a former player. Not a Hall of Famer. Didn't win a championship. And yet it's me. How interesting.
You think that there's some sexism baked into that?
No, I actually think I don't want to hear about how irrelevant we are.
Well, scandal is always relevant.
But then you're reducing, and I think that that's the point that she's making, right? So it's not just scandal as to why, for example, like you talked about CBS in the morning.
Yeah.
You said Gail would be it's not just because Gail's bigger than the show, it's because Gail is the biggest name and she's relevant. What Joy is saying, not putting words into your mouth, but it's not scandal, it's that it's her career, it's how relevant she is, which is why she's the biggest name. Oh, and her beauty.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like,
but I'm just saying,
I definitely look better on the graphics, you know. If you want engagement.
And I think that that's the point is, and it was kind of a question I had between everything that's happened in 2025 is, do you feel like all the gossip and the scandal has undermined your career? I mean, before we started this, you have, or maybe you did say when we started, you have 20 years of experience. Like, you didn't just pop up and randomly have this happen for you. You've put in the work, which is why I think it shows that your relevancy in being a talking head in sports, which is also why you were the face of it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, of course it has. Because I'm being reduced to a scandal. And I'm not, again, I'm not unaware of how these things work. Being in the business as long as I have, that's what happens. And until you are further enough away from it and rewrite the story in some ways, that's what it's going to be. But yeah, of course it's frustrating to have done all that work and put in all those hours and sacrifice time with your family and miss weddings and birthdays. And, I've lived in LA for the last 9 years. My entire family's on the East Coast. Like, I've missed so many things, for something that I wanted to do. I'm not a victim, but the point is, like, it required more work from me than it did from everyone else. I was pressured to not take time off, as we all were. The show's going to collapse. The network's going to collapse if you're not there. All those things to accomplish what I accomplished in the business. And now it's just because of what's being said, which is, I'm not the first person that's happened to. I won't be the last. And I feel like, there's enough people in the business that know me, that know that that's not the case, but that part will probably never be erased, which is the thing I think that frustrates me from a personal standpoint the most, because years and years of work being reduced to that and then not being able to ever erase that is frustrating.
Yeah. I think people need to hear that because it speaks to the nature of the business, not just in the sports business, but just in corporate world, period. That is something that will most likely always be attached to your name, whereas a man can just pick up, move on, or maybe even get a pat on the back.
Well,
That's bullshit.
No,
I don't.
I don't think so.
There are certain things
even
about
when
it.
So do you think that Matt Lauer or Charlie Rose
Matt Lauer's you're giving an outrageous example.
Yeah,
We're talking about
I do want to say,
I just would like to
what happened is not Matt Lauer.
Yeah, that's
extreme. I am
extreme.
also being compared to these outrageous, awful, horrific situations, and I need everyone to go scoop their smooth brains off the floor.
I love when she says smooth brains.
Carve some grooves in it and be serious.
Okay, so this is what I would say. There are a lot of men that have been involved in a lot of scandals, right?
Correct.
And they've
But let's contextualize what they have been involved in scandals for.
Let's contextualize what they've been involved in scandals for. But let's be for real. The reality is that, like, there are very few men, particularly now. In the old days, all the time. I mean, Sean Connery went on Barbara Walters and said that you should be able to smack your wife around, right? But there are very few high-profile men that have been involved and caught up into this type of stuff and that have, recently, and have received a pat on the back and just been able to move on from it.
Right, but Van, what were they accused of? What happened?
Well, okay, so if we're talking about the fact that maybe the way people view you is unfair, that's one thing.
No, it is not unfair.
Okay.
It is beyond reality.
Beyond reality.
What was Matt Lauer accused of?
He was accused of sexually harassing someone that worked for him.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't someone. There were multiple.
Well,
multiple
with him,
incidents.
it was more specifically. Well, all of these guys are serial predators. I'm not defending it.
Well, that's why you can't make the comparison.
But that's why you can't make the comparison.
There was if I'm being all the way real here, there was a workplace lawsuit that was brought by someone that you worked with that accused you of workplace discrimination and malfeasance and all of that stuff. Now, I know that that's all bullshit. But what I'm saying is that if we're going to say that a woman accused of that is going to be held to the standard for the rest of her life and a man won't, that's not true. Like, I mean, that's just not how. I'm
just waiting for you to give me an example that's on the same level. That's why it's like when you say Matt Lauer, I'm like, no, absolutely not. You can't say, I'm waiting for you to name me the man who it's been attached to. He's done or been accused of something one time, and it's been attached to his entire career.
Okay, so then, I mean, when you say one,
and hasn't progressed or like been elevated, what? Yeah.
So one accusation, or because I kind of feel like all of them, like the one way for you to have your career affected now is to have an allegation of Me Too or workplace
Should I have killed
malpractice.
Someone? I feel like I probably should have just
I'm just trying to make sure that we don't drift into
my most darkest impulses.
I'm just trying to make sure that we don't drift into the realm of hyperbole. Like, so
we have drifted into the realm of hyperbole.
Okay, let me ask you a question. All the things that Lizzo was accused of, has it followed Lizzo?
Absolutely.
Yes. Are you kidding?
I had a conversation about Lizzo last night.
So you think Lizzo is where Lizzo was before the allegations?
I don't think that Lizzo.
We don't even talk about Lizzo. I was at a concert Lizzo came out to with SZA. Nobody cared.
I don't think that
oh my God, Brownie has destroyed me.
Yeah, of course. I don't think that Lizzo is looked at as an abuser. I don't.
Man, be so for real. Be so for real.
Maybe they don't use the word abuser, but they definitely, what happened, the accusations definitely follow her. They might not title her an abuser.
I had a conversation about
but
Lizzo
they definitely
last
follow her.
night at the salon.
Right. So I think the conversations that, and I'll be honest with you, because I don't look at Lizzo as an abuser. I don't. I think the conversations that you would have with Lizzo.
You and I have talked about Lizzo many times.
Yeah. I think the conversations that you would have from Lizzo from men are from men who are toxically trying to say, hey, there are also women abusers too. Just look at Lizzo. But I don't think in any way, and going back to it before we drift into a tangent that we can't rescue ourselves from, I just don't think it's true that in this situation, those types of allegations could be leveled against someone, and then like you could just then say it's a smack on the back and you're gonna be
I
okay.
think to ignore
I would like
that is to ignore literally what the patriarchy is. And and this is not me drifting. Men have been excused, have been tolerated, have been allowed to
Without
do
a
certain
doubt.
things, not just in the workplace, just period in society. So to equate what women go through versus men, or that men aren't treated a different way, literally ignores everything.
I'm not saying they aren't. I'm saying that recently,
I'm still waiting for the example.
I want an example of a guy who, like recently.
I can't think of a one-time accusation. I can't think of it.
Okay.
It's always been multiple, because the first thing that comes to mind is Shannon Sharpe for me.
Mm-hmm.
There are multiple incidents with him.
But
multiple.
But the reality with Shannon Sharpe is the reason why Shannon Sharpe wasn't looked at in the past the way he is looked at now is because this issue came out during a time where people are more sensitive about it. And his celebrity is also up. Shannon Sharpe is actually a perfect example of that, because we found out that there were more instances of Shannon Sharpe and his...
Or we paid attention to them.
No.
Because they were out there.
No. But a lot of people found out. But in this situation, ESPN goes, and it'll be interesting to see what happens to him since the lawsuit has been... Obviously, there was a settlement or whatever, flimsily adjudicated in whatever way that it was. But ESPN went, you know what? That's too much. Like, that's too much. And in the past, networks hadn't done that. They hadn't done that, though, because he wasn't as famous. And also, it was a different time where people didn't
I think you proved my point. But
I mean,
let's get back to Joy.
No, I mean, I'm being for real. I'm saying right now, this was okay, let's be honest. Joy, your situation, was it much more publicized and a bigger deal than anything that had happened with Shannon Sharpe in the past? Was it more talked about? Was it more viral? Was it more all of that?
Than the past?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. This one with Shannon Sharpe wasn't. It was something that everyone knew about, that everyone had talked about. So if you see Shannon Sharpe on your television now, you see guy who probably had an improper relationship with a woman. And then the network, the sponsors, everybody is forced to come to terms with that. Now, in the past, that guy would not have suffered, but now it's different. Like,
but the now also includes the past stuff. It's
Jonathan
also not
Majors.
a one-time thing.
Like, you could go, you could go on. It's different. It's not.
Listen, I cannot comment on ongoing.
I'm just saying.
I cannot comment on ongoing legal matters. When I can, I'll have to come back to the podcast.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
If I'm welcome back.
You definitely will be.
Brownie has to be here.
What do you think about the pivot that Fox, the FS1 made?
I think it's interesting because I am a student of the business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that linear television is in an interesting place right now, particularly sports television, because sports are, as we know, ascending and growing at an exponential rate.
Right.
Because it's the last thing that we watch live besides news on television. And so there is more of a demand for coverage, for media, for access from fans, from sponsors. And in a world where companies are trying to always, of course, cut costs and, increase growth, I find it interesting the crossover that linear television is making with the digital space.
Pat McAfee.
Right. So from that perspective, it makes sense because it's very difficult for linear television to program for digital audiences. And more, we are becoming a digital audience.
Do you think that because that evolution or whatever or transition is happening, that these networks will get wider? Because when you see these gigantic audiences that come from these digital shows,
yeah,
it's bro stuff. It's Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
It's the Barstool stuff. If you have like a gigantic audience in that space,
mm-hmm.
it's always going to be super bro-y, like directly on the nose type of stuff.
Yeah.
And there is a certain way of viewing the pivot that the network made was that they actually got rid of a lot of people who were Black and ladies, and they brought in
lady,
the whitest, broiest. Does that signal are the networks pulling things a little bit back closer to the vest? Taking less chances on those types of faces?
Well, maybe, but in the end, results are all that matters. So if people watch that, then that's a good move for them. Like as a businesswoman, that is how I look at it.
You don't believe in diversity for diversity's sake?
No, I absolutely do. But but in this current climate, we have platforms. So when we didn't have platforms, that's bullshit. But we have the show. We have YouTube. We have Twitch. We have all kinds of streamers entering into the sports space that are incredibly diverse and have much deeper pockets. So I'm not really that worried about it. If we get into a time and space where we are gatekept from having voices, then I think it's a cause for concern. But you don't have to watch any of those shows. You don't have to watch this show. We have a choice on where we can consume what we want to consume. And so from that perspective, like, it obviously looks a certain way, but as a consumer, you have almost unlimited options for your content in the sports space.
Do you think that the consumer bears some responsibility for the faces that are on their TV? Because I say this all the time. This is what I mean. I say this all the time. Like, we had a conversation about a movie back in the day. It was like the Buzz Lightyear movie or whatever. I've said this on this podcast and on another podcast. And I'm like, there was a lesbian kiss in the movie, and the people did not go see the movie. The movie failed in the first week. And I was like, you know what? If you guys want to see more diversity on the screen, you need to go support this shit. You have to do it because Disney is a corporation, and they are not going to put it in there if they are going to both get headlines from people in middle America who don't like it, and then also get their asses kicked at the box office from a financial standpoint. So if you guys want Black, female-led stuff, you have got to support it because the networks and the corporations aren't going to do it because of altruism. What do you think about that?
So I think like Sinners was a great example of the success that you can have when people support things. So yeah, I do think that audiences play a role. Eyeballs, viewership, audience retention it directly translates to dollars in the media business, right? That's why they put my face on the headlines. I'm popping like that. So
this nigga is something else.
if you want to see certain things, then you have to support certain things. Yeah, for sure. And I also think, like, I have this conversation a lot when I'm bitching about diversity and I'm bitching about opportunities and things like that. It's like we forget there are a lot of white people.
Yeah.
There's so many of them.
Right.
And like they watch white people. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I'm in no way being an apologist for the Custer's Last Stand that we're going through right now, which I believe is like the white man's, last effort to.
This is the white man's last effort right now?
Yeah, this is they're giving it all. They're giving it a whole go.
They're having a hard time right now. We talk about it all the time. But don't you think that it's kind of a risk, even what FS1 is doing, because Barstools is proven in their space. Television, you actually have no idea. That's why.
I do think it's a risk, but that's why I think it's interesting because if it works, one, that is a massive momentum for people in the digital space to build their platforms, because it can, if you are successful, lead to massive checks and growth. Like there's a model for scale now into the linear space that is legitimate. So we've already seen it at ESPN. So I mean, I think it's interesting. And again, like what the audience wants, they're going to watch. That's just how it goes. Now, networks play a massive role in this, like marketing, crossover marketing, support, social support, ads, all of those things. Like it's not solely the talent's responsibility to make a show successful. Like that is not how it works. So I'm not putting it solely on the consumer, and I'm not putting it solely on the talent. There's pillars to making content successful, especially on the linear level. But I think it's interesting. Like the business is changing a lot. It's gone through massive changes just in the last, I will say 6 years, because prior to COVID, this was not even a conversation, because the linear space was not interested in what I would call raw content. Like we would not have guests on the show if they were not in studio. And if they weren't in studio, they had to have the highest quality camera with the stream that was like multiple times tested. And it just wasn't even a conversation to like video in a guest. Now it's not even a thought. We don't care. As a consumer, we don't care because we got used to it during COVID. And then the network stopped caring because we got used to it during COVID. And now the entire industry has changed. And what I pay attention to most, which is why I started my podcast at Fox years ago, the Maybe I'm Crazy podcast, was what are children doing? Because when I was coming into the business, I started in radio. It was 2007. Then none of this existed, as you guys know. But I saw the pivot, and I always wanted to be a personality. I saw the pivot from having to be in front of your television to get highlights, to getting it on the computer, getting it on your phone. And now we want to know what people think about what happens, right? In news and television. Now here we are. That's the world. We can get the news at any time. We immediately want to know, what does our favorite pundit think about the news, feel about the news? What should I feel about the news? What is some color to this news? Similarly, a new revolution is happening with young people where they're on their phones, they're on their computers, they're on their iPads. Their habit is not to watch television. Their habit is to be on their phone. Their habit is the digital space. They're not going to grow up and watch television because they don't do that now. We watch television because that was our habit as children. So I think the pivot that's happening with linear, with streaming, with all of this will be really interesting. I know I'm like inside baseball right now and boring shit out of you, but like that's how I feel about it.
No, I get it, because that's essentially the bet that they're making.
Right.
The bet that they're making is that people that watch Dave or Pat or any of those people on social media or on YouTube, whatever, that they'll be interested to see what happens when they are on Big Noon Kickoff, or,
And they have
audiences. And it sort of worked at ESPN. Well, at first it wasn't a perfect fit for McAfee at ESPN at first, but it's definitely working now. He is everywhere for them.
As you are when you work at ESPN.
Well, when you work at ESPN and they like you, sometimes they'll bench your ass and put you in the back. But he's everywhere for them right now. The fact that Barstool, Dave Portnoy himself, is so particularly controversial, yet the networks aren't afraid of him. Do you think that that's because he's white? You're there.
And
I mean,
a man.
when I
and a man.
not Fox.
Not Fox.
No.
Okay.
Not Fox.
It doesn't seem that you have a negative view of Fox in any way, despite everything that's happened. Just being honest. A lot of people would have taken it. A lot of people would be kicking their former employers back in. Ask me something about TMZ right now.
Or The Bachelor.
I mean, I don't look. This just happens.
Right.
Like I was there for 9 years. There were great times. There were bad times. I've been through a lot in the past 6 months. But at the end of the day, I'm a businesswoman. I understand how this business works. Like individuals can create an environment or experience for people at a corporation that isn't necessarily reflective of everything that's going on. Like, we don't have enough time for me to go over each year of experience that I've had there. But like my personal like walk away from the situation as it stands right now is I did a lot of great work there. I accomplished my dream, which was to be on a opinion set with men and have the same microphone that they had. And I've been able to do that for the last 3 years in both renditions of Speak. And I don't like I can be both angry and have gratitude for that experience. So, again, I'm not a reactionary person. So I'm not going to come out and say just, a word vomit that doesn't serve me or anyone else. And I really do at this point in my life want to focus on what I've done and what I'm going to do. And I know that people are interested in the shit, they're interested in the muck and the drama. And I get it. Like we all are. But that's just,
I also look at it as, yes, they're interested in it. And I think when you're ready, and it sounds like you will, when you're ready to say something, you will. I think it's also just about everybody speaking for you rather than you taking control of your own narrative. So I guess I see it in that way
well,
too.
like I said, I mean, there's a lot of things that aren't final yet.
Yeah.
Like there's it's an ongoing legal situation. This all just happens. Like I think a lot of times in the business, and I don't judge because look, it's an experience, right? And you get attached to things. You get attached to your routine. You get attached to the people you work with. You get attached to your platform. In a lot of ways, these shows become our like babies in a way. Like we put so much creative energy
more than you around your family.
Right. And it really becomes like, I mean, we spend so much time at work. So it can be like a death of sorts. And people really feel very, very deeply about how things are handled. And so I get it. But one thing I do want people to see in me is that I am a fucking gangster. And I really wish people would stop fucking forgetting that. I'm very serious. It's not always wise to talk. In fact, it can do you much more in the long term to not talk. Let other people talk for you. Let other people make up their narratives. Let other people walk themselves out into the deep. Go ahead, baby, swim on out with that headline. Go ahead, babe, write that whole story. Because when you know what's coming, now you have to swim back and explain yourself. Now you have to talk about how this wasn't really you being biased. It was you were just doing your job. And to me, like the slow kill and the long play is way more satisfactory. I'm an extremely vengeful person. I think about it all the time. I have many grudges. They're like my plants. Just give them a little water every day, a little food. Hey, remember that? Remember when that happened? Don't forget it. But reacting in the moment, to me, like I see people do it when they're going through things and I absolutely understand it. I've wanted to crash out so many times.
On who?
Everyone. So many people.
Not when I say on who, I don't need names. What
group?
No. Like give me okay. So when I say this, I mean, so obviously there are people who wrote stories. Obviously there are people who covered it.
Mm.
What type of person are you looking to crash out on? People that were close to you that didn't support you, people that made fun of you, people that talked about your peanut butter skin. Like what? like what?
You love that. Admit that you love that, man.
Shit is funny, dog. I'm
Admit
sorry.
that you love that, man.
Because you know why I loved it? Because that's the most sincere I've ever seen him.
You know what's funny? It's like I've never watched a second of. I know it exists because of you, because you're an asshole, and like other people. And I've seen the comments and stuff, but I've never watched a second of anything that he says. But I think it's so ironic that he would equate it to food. Like, don't you think that?
Love it. No, it's not. It's fitting. You're right.
Like on brand.
It's on brand.
If nothing else, he's going to be on brand.
But he was staring off. You could tell he had really thought about that,
Of
too.
course he had.
He was staring off.
He was like,
in the
what-
context of food.
What do I want for a snack?
He was like, but when you say people that you have, because I know.
So I don't have animosity to the public. Like that makes sense.
No animosity towards the
No, I mean, that makes sense. That part is, you got to charge that to the game. Like, that's what it is. You know, I wish that people were smarter, but they're not. And look, it's not people's job to like do deep dives into everything. I get it. That part, it sucks, but like that part makes sense. Even the people who like personally didn't support me, that's okay too, because, well, I mean, they can fucking die, but like, I don't, like, it's not changing my life. I have great friends and family. Like, what's two people?
Were you shocked by anybody who didn't like, and I mean privately, like that didn't like personally support you?
Yes, I was, but I will say overwhelmingly I was supported. Like overwhelmingly, I've been checked on.
Do you think the women in the industry supported you publicly?
No, Rachel did.
Right. Yeah.
10 toes down.
No, there were some. There were some. And I know who they are.
Right.
But I also don't. I was telling Rachel this the other night. I don't ever expect people to like come out and say anything. Like that's just not. To me, that's not ever something I would judge someone being my friend over.
Huh. So you could be in trouble and have a misconception out about you.
Yeah.
And you could have a friend with a public platform that knows that misconception isn't true and doesn't use that platform to address it, and you would be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I have been okay with that. I'm in the media business. Most of, I wouldn't say most, but a large contingent of my friends have platforms.
I think if they didn't support you personally, like privately,
yeah, if they
then it
didn't
would have
support
been
me
different.
privately, and some people haven't.
I understand everybody's not as outspoken as
Right.
me, or I react big, or I'm just like I have to. Like,
But people
not
have
everybody's
things
that
to
way.
lose too, which like
I have the platform where I
that
can do
makes
it.
sense. Everybody doesn't have a platform where they can come out and speak on controversial things, and there aren't consequences to that. So I would never expect that from people.
Israel Palestine. This was an issue of somebody.
Being
Well, I mean,
a woman
like
in
I am
sports-
like basically Matt Lauer.
I'm glad you brought that back up. But being a woman in sports, you have to toe, and you can speak to this because you've been in it way longer than I was in it for a couple of years. There's a line you have to walk. Like you can't just do the same thing that your counterpart does. Being a woman in sports, like I can see how somebody in a totally different medium could not speak out or speak on it in the way that I did, which is another reason I felt compelled to do it.
Listen, this is what I'll say. I get it. You guys are right. I'm not a woman. I'm not a woman in sports. I'm not even a man in sports. So whatever. What I will say is like, I don't know that if you got to break out, if you're on your broadcast and you got to break out, this is why I think it's wrong. I get that you can't do that. But if you can't put up a video or shoot a tweet, you don't fuck with me. The end. And that and I'm sorry. Like people, me and you could beef. People come at you. I'm this thing.
And
people,
you have.
Yeah, people come at you. I'm gonna be like, hey, this the like I get it. You are a gangster. See, I am not. I am all emotion, and my emotion is fighting with logic all the time. I go, God damn, this person's getting their ass kicked. I at least got a sentence for you. And Joy, I'm gonna be real with you. I see you out here calloused over, like accepting all the blows, getting hit from every different place, being out there leading with the strength. And I sometimes wonder if the dam is going to break.
Oh, I do too. But you know, we got medication and stuff.
I mean,
we got a good cocktail going right now.
Right.
You know, when this first happened, like earlier in the year, I had a lot of people say you've been through worse to me. And I thought it was like, I knew where they were coming from. Like they were trying to, speak strength into me. But it was a really like, it stuck with me as a statement. Like, you've been through worse. Because I have been through worse. Like, I've had someone try to murder me with their bare hands. I've had the shit kicked out of me physically many times. I grew up in an abusive home. Like, I've been sexually abused. I've been through terrible shit, like real shit. Shit that people do not come back from. But when they were saying it to me, I was like, well, this is new shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is different shit. Like, if I got my ass beat again, I'd be like, all right, 2 or 3 weeks, bruise will go away. Well, whatever. We're still alive. So that's good. Because I've been through that. And I hope to not go through that again, obviously. But when they said it was like, okay, you've been through worse shit, to kind of put it in perspective, it really like, it just stuck out as a thing to say. Because why we got to go through so much shit? Like, life is hard, right? Life is hard for everybody. There are people going through way worse shit than we're going through. Everyone has their own personal struggle. But when you're doing it and being front facing, and you have the responsibility of still doing a show or still trying to show up as like strong, yeah, it's exhausting. It's fucking exhausting, which is why I have the Beacham list. Like, there has to be like atonement to me eventually.
So
and that is the only thing that like keeps me on the rails,
well,
honestly.
I was going to say, and I'm sure it's more, but like hearing what you say and all that, and you're so right. When you go through stuff and then it's something new and then it's also something public. Like, I know, most of the time opinions and comments and stuff don't get to you, but it's still there. It's still present. It still weighs on you. How do you keep your peace, and do you even have it now?
I don't have a lot of peace. And peace is like, here's what pisses me off. I had peace. That's what really pisses me off. I had peace, and then now I don't. And when you have peace, you know what that feels like. It's so irritating. Like, if you've never felt peace, which up until that point I hadn't, then you can live in the constant like tremor of trauma, which like my therapist, when I had peace, was like, you can let go. Like, you can kind of just live now. Like, you've been through it. You've done the work. Like, just live your life. And for anyone who's had like trauma or PTSD or anything, you know how difficult it is to get to that point, because you live in this constant state of just assuming that like, okay, the blow's coming from over here. Like, tomorrow it's going to be from over here. And you walk through life on eggshells in this constant state of like unrest, because you never expect any peace. So now I'm like, fuck, back to that. But I know this place. I'm familiar. But I think this time around, it's different because it was a different experience. And B, unlike like the things that were done to me in private and just to me, like when I was abused, I was being abused, and it wasn't in front of the world. This is like getting your ass kicked in front of the world, and you can't fight back. Now, you can fight back, but there's consequences to every single choice. And I have decided to mitigate what those consequences will be until a later time.
I'll be honest with you. Your friend that told you you've been through worse, that's like, in my opinion, man, shout out to them, but that's, in my opinion, the 100% wrong thing to say.
A lot of people said it to me.
But to me, a lot of times, me and Rachel have talked about that. When you say I've been through worse, it starts to strangle your ability to expect better. And
yeah,
and look, there's people watching this that are having all different types of problems. They're having problems of they can't feed themselves. They're having problems of they're rich and their parents don't pay attention to them. your problems at the time that you are feeling them, they feel like your fucking problems. And you might be able to turn on the video and the TV and look at people starving in Calcutta and be like, well, at least I'm not them. But shit, you still want your dad to hug you. Like you might be able to look and see people that are struggling somewhere else and go, well, shit, it could be worse. It could be one of those people. I feel like sometimes people use that as an excuse not to treat you better or not to have you expect better.
I think it's about the goal of that statement is about perspective, right? When we do see horrible things happening to people that don't have food, that are being bombed, right? Like they're refugees. Like when we see those things, it puts in perspective our problems. Yeah. That I think is the point of the statement. What I would agree with you is you only have the problems you have. You can still empathize and have perspective. Okay, like I have this problem in perspective. It's not that big of a problem, but it feels big to me. And that statement, I guess I bring it up because like you asked how I'm doing. Like I'm not doing great. Not doing great. But what is the alternative?
Well, there's
what's not on the table is like losing.
Okay, so this is what I would say. Two things. No, I don't think emotion has perspective. I don't.
Sure.
I don't think emotion has perspective. I think circumstance has perspective, right? And if you're going to litigate circumstance, then you can get in. Oh, this is okay. I don't think emotion has perspective. Like, I was a 40-year-old man looking for my dad to love me in the same way that I did when I was 13. It didn't make any sense. I was taking care of him. It didn't make sense, but it just is what it is.
Right.
What I would say is if you're actually not doing okay, and I don't want to get into psychobabble, as long as you're processing it, as long as you're living in it, because if you're not doing okay and you're reactive, then you're not going to know when you are, right? So like it's as long as, look, people have different ways of doing this, but as long as you're processing it, as long as you're going, look, I'm not, for me, big dude, like whatever, there are times where I just got to go, I'm not feeling that good right now. Because you know what happens if I don't? I'll start beating niggas up. Like I'll start hurting people. I will turn my pain into other people's pain and I will attack. I will start doing it like the niggas from Baton Rouge do, which is fucking with drugs, fucking women, doing all that kind of stuff and giving my pain to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I honestly don't think that's as much of a concern with ladies, but I do think if I'm going to make some of the wildly gender-based generalized statements that you guys have made in this conversation, I do think you guys sometimes wear your pain and then think that that's strength. I think that because women a lot of times don't want to be seen as weak or don't want to be seen as fragile by men who there are kind of their barometers of strength in a way, men and women think that the amount of stuff that a woman can take is her strength.
Yeah, I'm not going to cry in front of everybody, okay?
I don't need you to cry.
And the bigger point is, when you are a woman in a male-dominated space, you have to operate in the masculine at all times.
I disagree.
It's
I'm
really
telling you,
true.
I'm telling you,
I'm sure that that's true.
You do. And the reason you do is because the women that don't get...
Okay, let me not say I disagree. Because you guys are telling me.
Launched, into outer space, out of there.
Okay. So let me tell you something. I can't say I disagree. What I'm saying is, then, rather than assimilate to that, we have to force that change.
No, I'm not doing it. Respectfully.
We were having this conversation.
I'm not going to say I disagree because you guys are right.
You're not wrong
that's
about
for the next generation, Gen X.
Because
you're not wrong
what's
about
the next
feeling.
I could say that for the
Gen
same
Alpha.
thing as, I could say that like when I walk into a room with all of these white guys, and I deal with a lot of white guys, that the easiest way is to act like one of them.
To not seem threatening.
To not seem threatening.
Sure, you have to do that.
I don't. I don't do it, and I can't do it, and I won't do it. It's not
I
happening.
won't say that I'm not showing up in my feminine, okay?
Right.
And I have definitely had moments where I have been able to gratefully be soft with people that have supported me and like be appropriately vulnerable. But in this space that I'm in, and showing up as a Black woman outside your door or online or in any space that is hyper masculine, no.
Is that why you feel like when everything came out in January, you didn't? I think people were expecting you to like go dark, and you were like living your life the exact same way.
You know, it never even occurred to me to do that.
I would have probably been the same way.
Because a lot of people ask me about that. Like, why didn't you turn the comments off? And thanks for the engagement, by the way. I'll be using that.
That's why I would have kept the comments on.
I'll be using that for my
100%.
You deleted your Instagram.
I deleted my Instagram for my mental peace after the Chris Harrison thing. I kept it up for like a weekend. Yeah, I did. Maybe a week. I absolutely did. I'm talking about the divorce, though. Like I appreciate the engagement. But go ahead.
Yeah, keep the comments coming.
Well, I love it when people turn their comments off, because if you turn your comments off on one post with me, you got to turn them off on all the posts. Because I'll go back to a post from 3 months ago.
And write it?
And then I'll comment. I'll be like, hey,
wait, I actually did turn my comments off.
I want to know we want to know what you was talking about with Trump. like it'll be you. Like, hey, I want to know.
They never see it.
I want to know what you was talking about with Trump, man. And I know you turned the comments off, but I see it's a picture of you and Ivanka Trump. What did you mean by that picture?
I also did not read anything. I did not and I know people think that that's as the kids say, cap, but it is a 100% fact, because I knew what it was going to be. And yeah, so like I didn't read anything. I didn't consume Peanut Butter Brain or any of the other pundits, no reels. And like obviously it was everywhere, and I just wasn't on the platforms. But yeah, where am I going?
Yeah.
I agree.
What's your opinion of men?
That's such a loaded
blanket
question.
Overall.
I think men are beautiful. I think they're necessary. I am unfortunately physically attracted to them, which I believe is a curse.
Being a heterosexual woman is
yes, I think it is.
Do you have a problem with people thinking that you don't like men?
No. Why would I have a problem with that?
I'm asking.
Oh,
why does that label happen so quickly?
What do you mean?
Like whenever, because people don't think I like men, specifically Black
men. Like men or like date them?
No. Like because you'll get on the platform and talk about men in a certain way,
right.
like princess boys or stuff like that.
Well, there are a lot of princess boys.
There's a lot of princess boys, right? But then the more we talk in that space, the more it's like, oh, well, she must hate men. That's what he's talking about.
I do hate a lot of men. I hate a lot of men. I hate a large contingent of men. Absolutely. I hate a lot of them.
You mean percentage of men you hate overall?
I would say it's probably about 60%.
I was going to say it has to be over 50.
It has to be over 50. Well, because one, I hate bitch ass men. And there's so many bitch ass men in a variety of different ways.
It is favorable on the percentage.
I know. I'm trying to be nice. It's much higher.
You're in a safe space.
Oh, yeah. Because the thing is like the men that I love are real men. And I believe that I know what that is.
What is it?
You are a real man.
Thank you.
Yes. A real man to me is somebody who is not talking about women's bodies in Instagram comments they don't know.
Oh, okay.
Like have I misjudged you?
No, I haven't.
He's going back in the past, maybe. You're thinking about the past.
No. I've never talked about, when we say talk about women's bodies, you mean like...
negatively?
No, like, imagine your man that you...
I would, yeah.
All right, your man that you allow to touch you. This is your man. And you go online and you're just casually strolling and you see his Instagram
Like,
handle
damn, you
I would
killed it.
rage.
that
Yeah.
he uses, by the way. He uses his Instagram.
Right.
And then he's commenting on a woman who's just a woman, just living her life, posting her nails, that she's ugly and her eyelids are droopy or something.
Okay. Well,
That's what I was saying, negative.
Okay, so I think that's
Imagine he has the time.
No, I mean, I would rage.
I don't think I could date again. I think it would be that humiliating.
So that is a very, that's a online phenomenon. I do think, what's funny to me is, I do think it's sometimes funny. Like, I see guys and they're like, yo, man, Zendaya ain't got enough body for me. And I'd be like, nigga, don't worry about that.
But there's a lot.
Like, I get it.
Like, do your comment autopsy and
Okay.
see how many men are in it.
So this is what I'll say about that. The reason why I asked this question is twofold. One, for the soundbite. Two, I asked the question seriously because when I identify men that I think don't like women,
Mm-hmm.
I'm open and honest about it. If you orient every single criticism of a man or a black man about men or black men, I'm going to go, there's an issue there. Just like if you orient every single criticism about a woman or black women, a black woman about black women, I'm going to be like, why does it have to be about black women?
I can't keep up with the current wave of opinion. Is the opinion of me at this current state that I don't like men?
We're talking about this because I even talk about this with Rachel. Like, but sometimes I do think, though, that just as a black man, I'm going to be open and honest and vulnerable with you guys right now. Sometimes I get tired of wearing the sins of some nigga I never met before. Like, it's annoying. It's annoying to me. I get tired of somebody being like, you niggas ain't shit. I'd be like, yo, man, I just donated to your breast cancer awareness.
Why do you include yourself? Like,
because you said black men, and I am one.
But when I hear people make criticisms about black women, and I know I don't fit that, I'll be like,
get the fuck out of here. That's bullshit. Y'all are here lying. If I right now said,
or we're just not sensitive about certain things as you are.
That's not true.
I don't take accusations about things that have nothing to do with me personally.
Oh my God. So you were a Kevin Samuels fan?
No, but I found it funny at times.
Right. So the reason why you weren't is because you weren't one, because you thought, hey, this guy always has something to say that's negative about black women. What's wrong with him? Like, what's the deal?
Well, that man hates women, and I thought he was wrong. I thought he was wrong in a lot of his opinions
I think I'm with Rachel. Like, I don't care.
Oh, you don't say.
I don't care what he's got to say about anything. Like, what does he have to do? It doesn't matter. This is the thing. This is like where we get into the mud with all of this. And this is truly an important conversation because I think that if people realize nobody's talking about you, then we might actually be nicer to each other. Because the truth is, I love men. I think I love men too much.
40%
in fact,
of them.
the 40% I do love, I love 100% of the 40%. I have great men in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I have great male friends. I have great brothers. I have great uncles and cousins. I adore my nephews. I'm very proud of them. I think men are essential to society. I think good men have a responsibility to raise good men and
1,000%.
mentor good men. I think they are so important to the family structure. I wish we took better care of them. I wish we allowed them to be vulnerable and emotional and be protected in that space and not demonized for having a range of emotions that don't include anger and lust. I think that men, educated, strong, powerful men, are not propped up enough and championed enough in all areas of society. That being said, if you're a clown ass man, you're a clown. And you shouldn't be offended by that. You shouldn't be offended by someone calling out clown shit. Like Kevin Samuels talking about women this, and I don't even know what the fuck he said. Nothing he ever said applied to me. And this is what happens on the internet all the time, because people will say things about me like, oh, like no one's ever going to marry you. I'm divorced. So what happened? And then after that, I got engaged. So what happened? What are you talking about? You think men don't want to date me? Are you guys on crack?
Yeah.
Shut up. It just has nothing to do with me. So why am I going to be offended about what people out here saying, oh, women are washed or da-da. Not listen, I could take your son and your father.
Okay.
And I could bag you. 3 generations.
So
Three generations I could take down if I wanted to. If I woke up tomorrow and decided that I'm going to take apart your entire family, I could do that.
I get it.
Why would I be worried about what someone has to say?
Even better sound bad. I can't tell if you guys are intentionally obfuscating. I swear to God, I can't tell if you guys are intentionally obfuscating or if you two are tag teaming and running game on me right now.
Why would we
Why
care?
would we do that?
Because I'm talking about something very specific and you guys are juking it. What I'm saying is this. So listen, what I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is if I see somebody that has a problem with a black woman or 2 black women or even black women in their city, even black women in their high school, right? All of these guys is like, man, you know why I only date white women and only find them beautiful and only think that they are, because the black women in the 10th grade, they all told me I had lips like Flavor Flav. And I never forgot that. But the white women loved me. I look at those people as weak. I go, you are a weak person for making your problems with one group of people in the 10th grade about an entire race of women. And why would you come out and speak? Because when you say black women, I don't care. You talking about Rachel, you talking about Joy, you talking about my mama, you talking about my sister, you talking about all of them. So if you don't like Kevin Samuels, I feel like we can have a truth. If you don't like Kevin Samuels, if you don't like the last 5 niggas that you dated, I don't want to be a part of them. I don't want you to say black men ain't shit. I don't want you to say black men because I don't do that with y'all. How many times have we ever been on this podcast in 5 years of doing it and me to be like, that's a black woman thing?
You don't, but you'll be like, y'all.
No, I will.
Y'all women.
I want to be clear. When I'm talking about men, I'm talking about all men.
You're talking about all men, yeah.
Actually, to be honest with you, I don't know that I would say this. There are common threads that I recognize in communicating with women, right? These threads are based upon largely on socialization. The way you're acting is the way you were taught to act. The way I'm acting is the way that I was taught to act. And I am doing my best to constantly challenge my socialization. And I'm failing every day. Like failing every day.
We appreciate
like
you doing
failing
that.
every day. But it does kind of seem like on the other end of, I'm just kind of tired of getting kicked in my balls.
Why is it your balls? No one's kicking your balls.
That's the point.
We're kicking these lames balls.
You are in no
and they
way,
deserve to get their balls kicked. You're not a lame, so don't worry about what the lames are going through. Every time this conversation comes up, this happens. What is this? Why are y'all caping up for lames? It happens all the time.
I'm not caping for lames.
We need to worry about.
You,
we need to worry about the average man. Don't worry about the average man. Let them suffer. They deserve it.
Well, number one, these men. 2 things. One, that's actually not a bad point. I actually like that. I'm not caping for lames. What I'm saying is, there a lot of the men that like I have to go evangelize to these men. Like I do.
Listen,
so you've made it your mission.
No.
You cannot.
I haven't made it my mission.
You cannot cure. You cannot cure lame. You cannot cure lame.
Lame.
We talked about
that. It is internal. It is in your DNA.
I have made it my mission to not turn my back, to have a conversation with anyone. So when I'm on the phone with my homeboys and my homeboys will say something, I'll be like, my nigga, that's whack. That's whack. And we got to talk about it. And we have to have this discussion.
I think lame is incurable. And it is not my mission in this life.
Do you realize you sound like one of these niggas?
I probably am one.
All right. Lame is incurable. Say more.
Okay. Lame is incurable.
Okay.
What I am not is a lame. And lame is incurable.
Okay. Lame is incurable.
Lame is incurable. Okay. Because lame is in your spirit. Okay. It's in your soul. It's in your DNA. You were born that way. You can't move away from it.
Okay.
Okay. And it is a true disease.
Incurable.
And they will never find a cure. There is a difference, though, between somebody being traumatized or scarred or have been bullied or have an experience that has limited their range in society. Maybe they grew up in a place that didn't have a whole lot of access to things, and they have the capacity, the intellectual and emotional capacity for change, right? That is not a lame. There are people who can think one thing, meet new people, have interactions with different people, and then change. And then there are lames. And it is very easy to identify, to me, the difference between the two. I love having conversations. That is my favorite thing to do, is have conversations. What I'm not going to do is go back and forth with a fucking smooth brain who also happens to hate women. That is not my mission in this life.
So,
and every time I have these conversations about men, it's like, because it's like the male loneliness epidemic, and it's like men feel like if they can't provide anything, they can't get women. This is not my fucking problem. It's not my fucking problem.
Which part of it's your problem?
You know what's my problem? My problem is none of it, because this is men's business, and I don't dabble in. None of it's my problem. Men's business is not my business.
So let me ask you a question. Just overall, just so I know, I'm getting educated here. What are women responsible for?
Women are responsible for women.
I think people are responsible for themselves, period.
Correct.
But something that she said earlier when she was saying, I love 100% of the 40% of men. And she was saying all the things that she wish for men. When you were saying, I wish they could be more vulnerable. I wish you could be those things. I think as an individual, when you say you're responsible for myself, when I say I'm responsible for myself, it's my duty to make you feel comfortable enough to be that. That's still me putting that on me. But like, I'm doing something where I'm like, the way I act, the way I am with men gives them the space to be those things when she named out that laundry list. That is what I'm responsible for. But that is a me thing.
Right. So as a man, I feel responsible for men and women. I feel responsible to protect the women in my community, and I feel responsible to make sure that the men protect the women in my community.
But you are a leader, Van.
But no, I'm not.
I'm not mad at that answer.
I'm just a dude. I'm not. I'm just a dude.
That sounds like something a leader would say.
No, I swear to God.
Just a guy.
I swear to God, I'm in the Piggly Wiggly. with my dad a long time ago. Dude, you know how, the funny yoking up of women? Sometimes it's funny, like, you ever seen the man grab a woman like right under her arm like
that? I hate that shit.
Yeah, right. So I seen the dude yoke a woman up like that, and my dad went, all right now. And he was like, I don't know what y'all gonna do at home, but come on now. My son here, and stop. And the dude was, well, nigga, he was like, look now, she never gonna look at you the same if I get on your ass. And I'm like,
okay, so you're making points. I understand what you're saying. I feel a responsibility to the men in my life, but I'm saying the same thing Rachel's saying. Like the men in my life who come to me and like need a vulnerable space, right? Or need advice, or they're going through something.
I'm gonna stop you real quick because I'm gonna forget this. Realize that you guys want us to be better, but you're saying you don't feel responsible for our care.
No. Not your care. I'm talking about the collective.
I'm giving you the space for it.
Like, it's not my responsibility to go out and make sure that incels feel heard.
I'm not saying
that. It's not my responsibility to make sure that the guy in the comments who's talking shit to me is met with
like
grace
that out.
And understanding.
We're not going to do that.
My responsibility is the people in my life. My responsibility is my nephews, is my brothers, is my friends, is my coworkers, is my business partners, is the people in my family. That is my responsibility as a woman, is the people that interact with me, the men who interact with me have support, are seen, are understood, are given grace, they have the space to be full human beings. And I can say unequivocally that I do that. I do not think for 1 second that a man in my life does not feel that energy and grace from me. Now, the rest of them are not my fucking problem. Okay. And furthermore, I think that women, it's always women's fucking responsibility to do everything. We got to do everything. We got to fix everything. We got to make sure you guys feel good. And then like, don't yell when the shit isn't, I ask the dishes. It's always us. Can we have 5 minutes?
Hey, look, this is what I'm going to say. Number one, if you're talking about your nephews, man, shout out,
Yeah, shout out Mason.
You know what I'm saying?
Go
Shout
Tigers.
out to, you know what I'm saying? The New York Jets. I can't even hate on it. He did his thing. That's an LSU legend.
I'm aware.
A legitimate LSU legend. I'm just saying, y'all should care about the male loneliness epidemic. Y'all should.
How do we fix that? Should we just start fucking?
I have no clue, but the reality is, if men are lonely, then women are lonely.
Women are not lonely.
I think women are lonely, though.
I don't think women are lonely.
Oh, I know a lot.
Gotcha.
Actually,
I don't think women are lonely.
Gotcha.
I think women are lonely.
Fight.
I don't think women are lonely.
Fight.
We won't
Why?
fight.
Why do you think women are lonely?
Because I see it. Now, I'm not speaking about myself, but I know a lot of women who feel very successful in their own right, and they've done everything that they're supposed to, but they don't have that companionship that they want. I also think that, when you and I talk, we may be different in certain ways, right? From the women that I'm talking about. I think maybe what we seek, maybe it's because we've been divorced.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because we are women in male-dominated fields. The type of companionship or maybe even the time and the attachment is different from what I see with a lot of women. They really want companionship, marriage, children, all of that. And because they don't have those things, they feel very lonely. Or like that they feel it's very hard for them to date because they're trying to date a certain man who is intimidated by them. So then they can't get that. So I see a lot of that. I'm not talking about us because I think there's levels of, I don't know if there's levels of loneliness, but there's a difference. Like, I don't think we will ever be lonely. I was actually lonely in my marriage. Actually, let me shut the fuck up. I was lonely in my
Obviously, y'all not going to be lonely.
No, but that's
Like,
not. But
you know what
I don't mean it like
There's
that.
a difference.
I don't mean
There's
it
a
like that.
difference
Do you
between-
understand what
yeah,
I'm saying?
you can be.
What we need is different from the type of person that I'm talking about.
Yeah, and there's different types of lonely.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is even when we're having these conversations, right? Like, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I'm not the dumbest. I'm not the finest nigga in the world, but I'm not whack. So I'm going to be straight. Sometimes when I see what happens when people cannot connect, I didn't see people drink themselves to death and all of that stuff, and we can have conversations. When I see the male loneliness epidemic, I am curious as to why people no longer see themselves in each other. That is profound. It's profound that people, because what it used to be was two people who didn't make a lot of money, who weren't the two most beautiful people in the world, could go, I see myself in you. And in you, not that they had a perfect relationship, not that there wasn't issues and all that, but I see myself in you. I see myself in you. Look, we're happy. We made this little family. We came together. People no longer see themselves in each other. They're looking and grabbing people out of the sky to try to relate to, and it's having an effect.
You think that's why people got married back in the day?
No, I think that people got married for a lot of reasons, but
Okay.
I think that a lot of the reasons had to do with entrenched patriarchy and all of that stuff. But I
Yeah.
also think people just met each other at work. They just met each other at dances. They just met each other and basically said,
and say the quiet part.
and they said, if I have to choose somebody, it's you. And the reality is,
They dated within their league.
right. That's fine. But what I'm saying is, a part of that is real. I think the loneliness epidemic comes from, like what you guys just said a second ago. You're not lonely. You're not lonely. Of course, beautiful, talented Rachel Lindsay isn't lonely. Of course, beautiful, talented Joy Taylor isn't lonely.
That's not why I'm saying we're not lonely. I
Okay.
know pretty, talented, successful, lonely. I think what we seek is different, or the way we seek it is
By
different.
the way, that in itself could be an issue.
Well, I also.
my
I'm not
therapist
going to
said
say
I have
I
an issue
don't.
with men. I told him I'll see him in 2026.
Yeah.
Like, literally. I was telling her this. I was like,
But by the
I
way-
literally go, all right,
We're
I'm
not
not ready
doing
to
this
deal
right
with
now.
that. I just want to give me the rest of the
Yeah.
year.
We need to build up some more trauma before we start getting into that. I have decentered men.
Which is great.
So but I also, and I say this all the time, I don't advise anyone to do anything I do. I live a very unique, specific life that I have meticulously designed for me and my desires. I don't blanket statements things that you should do that. You person out there should not do things I do, because it's probably not going to bring you the happiness that you think you're seeing in me. I like my life the way that I like it. That doesn't mean that you should do anything I do. If you want to have kids, you should be dating people that want kids. I don't want kids. So I don't date people that want kids. Right? Like there are things that each person does for their own desires that are beneficial to them. The male loneliness epidemic is not a simple phenomenon. It's very complex.
Right.
And it is being amplified by what you're talking about. And the reason we're calling it a male loneliness epidemic and not a female loneliness epidemic is because a lot of women
don't hurt people.
Well, one.
So the reason why we're calling it a male loneliness epidemic and not a female loneliness epidemic is because
when men are lonely, they turn into murderers.
When men are lonely, and this we just have to call this when men are lonely.
Well, you say it because you're a man. So if I say it, then
no, I'm just saying when men are lonely or unfulfilled, they take it out on each other and other people because they haven't been
socialized. They do that?
All kinds of ways. They take it out through rage. They take it out through domination. In all kinds of ways, They take it out, right? And so it is an actual atom bomb inside of a society to have a bunch of angry men walking around.
Right.
And so that's why we should care about it.
In society, what has happened in society, and this is why I said women need 5 minutes, because women have autonomy, some autonomy. For the first time in the history of this country, we have freedom. We have some autonomy over our bodies. We can start businesses. We can own homes. We can live completely independent lives from men. We can even have children without having a man in our lives or even having to have sex with them. We can adopt children. Like we can create our own lives completely independent of men. That's never been the case before, ever. So we were raised by women who didn't live in that society and didn't live in that reality. They were raised by women who didn't live in that reality. And before that, God knows what the fucking situation was. So there is generational trauma that women are shedding right now in this probably what will be a temporary space of freedom that we have. And because of that, the choice that women have going up into this space of men who have been raised by men and women who lived in that society, who were raised by men and women who lived in a society where the rules that you talked about existed, where you couldn't get a credit card and you had to marry a man that was in your little town to have kids, and you guys didn't make that much money. Yeah. And if he turned into an alcoholic, you couldn't leave. Or if he beat the shit out of you, or he abused your children, or he had a second family, or whatever the fuck men were doing, because this was a patriarchy and men were in charge. Okay? Or they just sucked and were boring. You couldn't leave. And that was a reality for all of our mothers, for all of our grandmothers, our great grandmothers.
Is that the reality for your mom, Rachel?
I mean, yes and no.
Most, okay? I hate, we always get derailed. For most, okay? For most, overwhelmingly, that was the reality for women. And so
the reality for women that they were all prisoners in marriages that were unhappy.
No.
Because that's not my mom,
that is not what I'm saying. I'm saying society, right?
Okay.
That was the framework, the laws of society.
I completely agree with you.
Written into law.
No, I get that.
Okay, so that was the framework. So it's not all. Some people had beautiful, loving marriages with beautiful children, okay? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying as a whole, that was the law and the rule of society. So now that women have the choice to say, I would like a partner that has a range of emotions, that has interests, passions, that can have a conversation with another human being without bringing up QAnon or Reddit, I would like a complete person. And because men, because of society and patriarchy that harms everybody, they've been raised to only show up with dick and a job. We have both of those anytime we want. So it has created this space for these men who only want OnlyFans models or Sports Illustrated swimsuit models who are online habitually seeing women who would never would step over them if they were being eaten by an alligator. They would step on their forehead, right? These women are not they're not ever going to touch you, right? They don't go outside, and then they're angry at women because they don't get pussy.
Okay, so two things. One, I'm gonna say a grand thing about the entire thing. Just a bit. I don't believe you.
You don't. What part? I just said a lot.
The fact that this group of women that you're talking about has decentered men.
No. I didn't say all. Nope.
What?
Van, I have decentered men. All of these
I
women.
don't think that's true. So much of the conversation that you have is about men.
What I'm saying,
hold on.
That's not what I mean when I say decentering men. I just for clarity purposes.
Yeah, I didn't take it that way.
When I say, and the statement decentering men means that every day I wake up, I have a full life. I have friends, I have a career, I have businesses, I have family, I have interests and passions. I do not feel, and this is a genuine statement, that is not meant to diminish men, because having a partner is a beautiful thing, and I will have one. But I don't feel any less of a person or like I'm living any less of a life because I don't have that. And I do not actively every day wake up searching for that. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. I'm just saying that part of my life and chapter of my life is either on hold or I'm not doing it anymore. What will come to me in the space that it needs to. And that's what decentering men means. And men,
I am not there.
Men can also.
She isn't either.
I aspire to have that mentality. I don't know if I believe that, but I'm not there.
No, she isn't either. You have decentered a relationship.
No.
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait a second. You have decentered a relationship. Decentering a relationship is saying, I've decentered the need to have somebody in my life, and that person that would be in my life would so happen to be a man because I am a heterosexual. Decentering men would be I don't give a fuck about men's problems and what men are going through. And I hear you speaking to them all the time. The way
that's not what she means by decentering men.
Okay.
But maybe you just have two different.
Is there an island where there are no men that I can go?
I think you just have two different definitions.
Yeah,
that's not what I'm saying. I know what she means because I actually aspire that, which is why I'm not doing therapy right now. I'm going to be in this place where I am.
So here's the deal. I'll just be honest with you. I listen to men all the time that try to convince you that bitches ain't shit. And what I tell them all the time is bitches are shit. And the reason why they are is because you can't stop talking about them. Every single thing, your whole existence is around critiquing, trying to minimize and mute women. You're not just not fucking concerned about women. You're actually obsessed with them. You are. Just your obsession has metastasized and is now something that is a net negative, not just for women, but for yourself.
Do you think that I center men in this way?
I think that this is what I think. I think that a lot of your, a lot of the ways that you approach this, I don't blame you for approaching it this way. I really don't.
That's not what I asked you.
I don't. But what I'm saying is, if we can have a conversation, this is what I'm saying very clearly. If we could have a conversation about how lame is you're born a lame.
Yeah.
If we can have a conversation that is incredibly that's critiquing men, we should also be able to have an exploratory conversation about what we need to do to address this. And so if we're going to have a conversation about the male loneliness epidemic from the purview of these men are responsible for their loneliness, I think that that's actually bad. I think that the way we should have that conversation with any type of group that we are zeroing in on is one that has, I'm sorry, I know this is some compassion, some empathy, and some curiosity.
Okay, I'm the wrong person to have this conversation because I've got like one drop of empathy left in my body before I turn into a full villain, and it's not going to be for the male lonelies. But let's you skipped my question, but it's fine.
Well, I don't want to.
Let's workshop this.
I don't want to. Like, I skipped your question because you centering men. This is what I think. Do I think that you center men? Yeah, I think that you have a lot of conversations about your critiques about men and about masculinity. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do think that there's a holistic way to talk about this that doesn't necessarily get into villain making all the time, that people aren't willing to do. And I think that's for the negative. I think that if we're going to have a conversation about the things that are so wrong, we do this about racism all the time. It's activists out there right now that I know don't want racism to end because they don't have something else that they can do.
Oh, God.
I swear to God.
Yes.
I know it's activists out there right now that love it when the police fuck somebody up.
The only thing I talk about
they got
is
something,
men, though.
They got something to raise money off of.
That's
and what I'm saying
crazy.
is I want an end to the thing. And if we're going to have to say that you don't give a fuck about the male loneliness epidemic is an odd thing to say if you care about the way men treat women.
I don't feel that way, but yes. But
when I say I don't give a fuck about it, I don't give a fuck about me being the one that's responsible for fixing it. But let's have the conversation.
Okay, let's have a conversation.
Let's have the conversation then.
Because Hulk Hogan died and we haven't even talked about it.
How?
I don't give a fuck about it.
Well, yeah,
sorry.
Neither do we.
Yeah.
I think we all agree on that.
I wish I cared. And that's the sad part.
The child in you wishes that you
Yeah,
cared.
the child in me wishes I cared.
Yeah.
I
cared about the fact that
what are women supposed to do? Since this is really what we're saying. What are women supposed to do? Well, if it's not just men's fault, because I think it's men's responsibility, but what are women supposed to do besides fucking lames? Because that seems to be the easy solve. Right? Besides that, what are women supposed to do? What should I do to help ease the burden of these poor men who are craving true human connection?
Okay.
How can I fix it?
All right. I'm going to respond with a question. What am I supposed to do about domestic violence? I don't beat women.
And that's what you do. That is your actual responsibility.
That's not enough.
That's your opinion.
So
I'm a domestic violence survivor. You do not have to be an advocate for domestic violence.
I'm telling you right now.
Awareness. You do not have to do anything other than disagree with it and not hit women.
I'm telling you right now that the way that you attack a problem like that, in my opinion, especially if you're gonna talk about it, if it's gonna be something that you endeavor into, the way that you talk, what I have to do about them, it's not enough not to beat the women it's not enough. And I will give credit to somebody for this. And I'm educated by the women in my life, some brilliant women that I'm surrounded with, and of course, the brilliant woman that I talk to every day. She goes, we're talking about like this situation with domestic violence. And she goes, all right, you don't involve yourself in anything like that. And I'm like, no. And she goes, do any of your friends? And I'm like, well, I don't know. She's like, well, why wouldn't you know? Like, yeah, the women that are around you are safe. But if you are creating little cubicles, little groups where other men that are unsafe to women can come into them and be around you, then it's not enough what you're doing. You have to set a standard, not just for you. And I was actually taken aback and slightly offended. It's like, you have to set a standard, not just for you, but for the men that are around you. So they would know that that's not cool. And you know what struck me when she said that is I had already done it, but not with domestic violence. In our crew, if you're not taking care of your kids, we won't fuck with you. Like, we won't fuck with you. In my crew, we won't fuck with you if you don't take care of your kids. And that sets a standard within us that we are guys that had fathers, and we want that to be a thing, at least for us. Now, I'm not saying that, we were all niggas that cheated on our girls and did all the ain't shit. I'm an ain't shit nigga trying to do better. But I'm saying in that situation, what she said to me made sense. I was like, oh, well, yeah, what sense does it make for me not to be abusive to a woman when I'm playing Madden or basketball with somebody who is? I'm making him think that that's okay by my connection to him. And by the way, this is not a one-to-one. We've had conversations on this podcast about friends that I have that people don't like, or they got bad political decisions and all of this stuff. I get it. But what I'm saying is, in that situation, is not enough. Because if people are being harmed from it and we're going to endeavor into discussing it, we have to discuss it in a way that meets people where they are as people.
So I don't want to.
That's it.
I don't want to diminish what you're saying, but so to make an equal comparison, right? Then I'm supposed to identify the incels in my life, and talk them out of it.
No,
because when you're talking about the male loneliness epidemic,
all the men who are lonely are incels and lames. That's what you're saying.
Well, the epidemic.
The epidemic, yes.
Like, it's not
the epidemic is specifically talking about this type of group of people.
But if it's an epidemic, how could they all be incels and lames?
Because there's a lot of them.
I disagree.
It's
we're never going to agree on this.
Well, because there's a difference between a functioning person who goes outside, who is actively looking for human connection and hasn't found their partner. That is not a male lonely lame. That is not what we're talking about, and it is not what is referred to as the male loneliness epidemic. It's not the women that Rachel is talking about. We are talking about a specific group of people that do not leave their house, that do not interact with human beings, that are spread. That is what I'm talking about.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know if y'all have really dug into this. This is like
the term male loneliness epidemic.
The term male loneliness epidemic is it's true, but it's true that there are a lot of behaviors that are connected to it, but it is describing a societal situation that is very far and wide reaching and affects all types of people, all the people that you named as well, but some people that actually are benign members of societies and don't have the skills necessary to go out there because of the way they've been socialized and attract women. And I'm not saying that we have to. First of all, because we've been on this for a while. Let me say this. I'm not saying that anyone here that it's their job to make the male loneliness epidemic a crusade. But if you are going to critique men, right? If you are going to critique, take it out of men. If I'm going to critique whiteness, I have to care about whiteness. I have to care about the reasons why white people act the way they act. I have to care about the structural reasons that undergird whiteness. I have to actually care about presenting a solvable equation to the problem of racial disparity in America. And there's scholarship behind that. If not, you just kicking white people in their ass.
But I feel like I feel, I'm going to speak for myself.
Okay.
I feel like I do that because every time I talk about this, I outline the very long tangent that I went on about how we got here, why women's autonomy is playing a massive role in this epidemic, because the standards of society that men were raised to exist in do not exist anymore for women. Women have choice. That is affecting the partners that
like men are pouting.
They're choosing.
Well, in that epidemic,
I'm not trying to diminish it that much. I'm saying that there is a massive explanation for this. I'm not just saying that men are lames. All right, it's not that simple. There's a patriarchal, strategic deterioration to society that is happening, paired with women getting autonomy, rising in their ability to make money, rising in positions of power, the ability to create your family and build a family in the way that is unique and specific to your desires, whether you are a woman or a man, the influx of toxic masculinity and that propaganda that is distributed across the entire planet in various ways, the broification of dating, the lack of empathy towards other people in a variety of different ways, whether it's critiquing people's bodies, whether it's critiquing what people have, social media, creating these unrealistic expectations for absolutely everyone in whatever it is that you feel insecure about. It is not a simple thing, and it is not as simple as kicking men when they're down. What is the oversimplification of it to me is that men being lonely is a direct responsibility of women to fix. Because in my opinion, men need to help other men. If I was dealing with women, this was a women's loneliness epidemic, I would be speaking to why women are experiencing that. I think that a lot of women absolutely are being completely unrealistic with dating and what they want and what they need. I think if you want a family, you should be dating people that want a family, not dating somebody who doesn't want a family and then being angry at them. But I have those conversations with the women in my life that do unrealistic things all the time. And guess what? They're mad at me when I do it, but that's what I'm going to do. What I'm saying is solving a societal issue that is specific to a gender seems like it's largely that gender's responsibility.
And I think that you described a benign...
Especially when it's men and they have power.
You described a male that's lonely in a benign way. I don't think that fits the term of the male loneliness epidemic. I think that they're separate. I think that because what she's talking about is the ones who blame women, basically, for their loneliness. What you're talking about, the way you described it as a guy who's just it's hard for him to socialize and connect with people.
Okay.
Women, I should say.
So this is what I would say. All well taken. Number one, I think that I think that there are very few gendered problems in society. I don't think that there are problems. I don't think that there's problems that women got, and I don't think that there are problems that men have. I think that there are very few gendered problems in society. Give me an example of one.
Did someone what?
Give me an
We
example.
literally been talking about it on this podcast.
Okay,
Like,
so
was
patriarchy. So is patriarchy
Was
a problem?
Van kidnapped?
Can I ask you a question?
Is this Pod Van?
Can I ask you a question? Is patriarchy a problem for women? You gotta go.
I'm checking your pulse.
Hold on. Is patriarchy a problem for women?
Yes.
Now, patriarchy is a problem created by men. Understand what I'm saying? Patriarchy is a problem created by men and reinforced by women. But patriarchy is a major problem for women. So when I say that there are very few gendered problems that don't involve the other gender specifically, I mean the reason why Black maternal mortality is a problem to me is because I am a man that shares my community with women. And the pain of the women in my community affects me. So there are very few problems that are only for
but
men.
man, that's because you're choosing and because of who you are as a person. It doesn't actually affect you.
That's bullshit. You mean to tell me that
Well,
wait a second, wait.
It does affect you, but I think...
Hold on. Stay on Black maternal mortality. You mean to tell me I have
it affects you.
Hold on, wait. I have a woman. She gets pregnant. She goes and gives birth. She dies.
Mm-hmm.
And so she dies. That doesn't affect me?
But she's saying because of the type of person you are, because you care. It does affect you. It should affect you.
That would affect.
I'm not even saying that. I'm not even saying that.
Hey,
I'm saying today.
Beautiful words. Agree to disagree.
No.
No.
If we need to move on, we need to move on. But this is what I'll say. I think because you are a real man, okay, and you're complex. No, I'm not. I'm not patronizing you. You are a complex person. You are an intellectual and you're empathetic. So sometimes, I say this as your friends, you there's the line and then you just kind of kick some sand on it to bring your brothers over with you. Okay. And like, you're on this side because of those things. And I genuinely wish for men to have that experience, right? Because then you see things like the Black women mortality rate, right? In hospitals in general, but also in birth, as being a problem that affects you, even though you are not having a child right now. But there are men who look exactly like you, who are in the exact same situation you are, who don't give a fuck about this. And they live their lives every day not thinking about it. So I'm not
because they're
saying
unaware. I want you guys to do something. Listen. I want you guys to do something. I want you guys to take a man, the most Cro-Magnon. I always say magnet. The fucking dumbest most, and go, hey man, do you want to have kids? Yeah, man, I want a little one. I want something like that. Do you want a family? You want a woman? Yeah. Do you want your girl to die during childbirth? No. Do you know that as a black man, your girl is 25% more likely to die during childbirth than a white woman? Do you know what the next question is going to be? Why? They're not just going to go, oh shit, well that sucks. The next question is going to be why?
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Why? Why is that the case? Why? And the reason why is because
so you think this is a lack of awareness and education?
In order to litigate care, you have to create it. Like, and so you have to create care. You have to, and the deal with the male loneliness or whatever it is that you're talking about, like you have to manufacture care. You have to say, hey, by the way, even if it's an issue that they don't know affects them, you have to be like, this is why it affects you. This is why male loneliness affects y'all.
And then you believe that even after you do that and you explain the why, they will always say they care.
Yeah, no, man, I say this with
all right.
So much respect. I think you're given great deal of people, great community of people, way too much credit. I don't think
he's hurt.
That
no,
I don't think
okay.
It has been my experience, 38 years on this planet, my observed experience from many other women all over the world, that the suffering or inequality of women is not a high concern for most. And even with the very clear, very slowly explained reality of it and how it may affect said person, that has overwhelmingly not changed laws, societal norms, treatment, protection of women. So while I would love to believe that a simple conversation with a dum-dum or unaware person, because they're not, just because you're unaware doesn't make you dumb. There's lots of things I'm not aware of. I'm not dumb. That would then change their spirit to care, I think, respectfully, is a little idealistic of you.
Last thing I'll say. They don't think it's them. This is the last thing I'll say. They don't think it's them. The guy that you're talking to doesn't think he's the one that you're talking about. He doesn't think it's him. What you have to do is tell him how his behavior, how he lives his life is harmful. What you have to do is you have to create the value in a society where safe women is good for. He doesn't think it's him.
So we have to explain it.
I'm not saying that you're saying that you have to do that. I'm saying that it has to be. I'm saying that number one, two things. One, I have to have the freedom to do it. So don't get on me because I'm on the phone with somebody for 2.5 hours. Right. That's the first thing.
And then be on the phone now.
Like that's the first thing. Like that's the first thing. Number one, somebody got to do it. So don't get on me because I take the time to do it. That's the first thing.
Do it.
The second thing is the reason why the conversations are important is because I'm telling you that I was raised by a beautiful, strong, brilliant black woman. Brilliant black woman. But she doted on me. And she doted on me so much to where I thought I was fully formed. And I thought that there was nothing more to learn. And they don't think it's them. And there are some that are lost causes. There are some that are too entrenched. There's too much pain. There's too much whatever. But the reason why you hear niggas talking about, you listen to them and they'll talk about situations where they'll be like, well, shit, we can't have nobody in our community that's beating up on, we don't beat up on females. We don't beat up on females. We don't do that. We don't be females. And then you go, well, maybe we shouldn't call them females. What?
Can I just say,
What? I don't call them bitches. I could call them.
I don't understand the woman female thing.
Like,
did I miss the memo on that?
No, I get in trouble every time I say female.
Why can't we not say female anymore?
Look, it was told to me and I went with it. But
you're a smart man.
But what I'm saying,
the male part, I don't know.
But
I think they're saying. I think it's the way they're saying female. That's not because I don't. I'm like, what are we supposed to call
ladies?
But my point is this: even the conversation.
I think we're doing too much, girls.
Even the conversation of the proper way to do that is a conversation where somebody goes, "Huh," like, and so to me, every guy that you guys are talking about, the problem is, particularly with men. You have a lot of people who are very societally powerful. You have bad actors, no doubt about it, right? You have bad actors, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Then you have a bunch of people who don't understand how they're operating in oppression. And if we cast everyone who behaves badly, not who behaves badly, because behavior can only be met with consequence. But if we cast everyone who is unaware of the delicate nature of a functioning society in the role of a villain, then you'll create villains. You'll make people who go, well, shit, fuck it. You tell me I ain't shit, so I'm really not shit. Like, so if you get told, so all I'm saying is this: male loneliness epidemic. It's an issue. It's an issue. It's an issue, and it should be treated with care.
Let's move on.
We have to. We've been on this for like a fucking hour. Joy, now people have been able to see that you are the Darth Vader of podcasting. And by the way, you know what's crazy is this is gonna come off like I'm getting on women.
No,
and everybody gonna be so mad. Why everybody gonna be like, "Man, I want women." No, I don't, because actually. My main function for the women in my life is to not bother them too much, just to get away from them and leave them alone. That's what they want from me. Last thing, from me to you, because you've been so generous with your time. We got to talk about Hulk Hogan. I want to ask you something. You are really, in a way, you're still very young for this industry.
Mm-hmm.
People do this till they 65, till they 70. I just watched something about Barbara Walters. She had the mic in that hand till they took it out of her. You're very. What do you want to build? Like, for everything that's happened to you this year, you've never been more famous, and you've never been more consequential with the things that you say.
Mm-hmm.
You're constantly aggregated. You're constantly talked about. What do you want to build now?
Well, I gotta be honest with you. The fucked up part about this year, and I don't know if I'm gonna get it back, is the experience this year has taken away my joy for the business.
Oh, shit.
So there was a time, there's always work involved, right? Like, even if you have a career you love, there's things you got to do that are annoying that you bitch about, or like, a certain week you might be tired, not feeling it, whatever. But overall, like, the saying, it doesn't feel like work, is when you're doing something that you actually enjoy. I think what happens to me this year took that away from me. I don't know if I'll get that back.
Ever.
I might. But, and maybe like when the callus forms over the wound and, you get away from things, it doesn't feel like the tremors go away. So we're not there yet. But right now, it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel exciting. Like, the big dreams seem like I'm going to do it, but I'm not as excited about it. And that's kind of shitty, because this has been a lot, like I said, a lot of work and a lot of passion, but it's been something that I think has come naturally to me because I enjoy it. And I enjoy talking to you guys, obviously. But the building, the work of it all it doesn't feel the same. Like, the dream now is to just disappear.
I would hope that you don't. And to be very honest, it's all still very fresh. It's all still very fresh right now. Like we're still within the year. We're a little halfway over it. Multiple things have happened to you this year. I hope you don't act on that and disappear, because I think just as we've enjoyed talking to you, I know so many people enjoy listening to you. Obviously, that's why you've been front facing of all the stuff that's been happening, because people are interested. I hate, just like as your friend and a fan, that you feel that way. And I hope that changes for you.
Well, thank you. I said this actually before everything happened, that like that was starting to be my aspiration for different reasons. Not the disappearing part, but like just, I don't want to be 70 with a mic. I want to build things for other people to have spaces. I started as a producer because that's, how you start in the business, but I do like making things. I enjoy that process. And whether it's my show or other people's shows or movies or whatever, I enjoy the process of creating and making things. And not being front facing allows you the space to still create, but not have this responsibility. And this comes with a lot of responsibility, especially if you're someone like me. And, not to like toot my own horn, but in a lot of ways, I am the only me. And that's a lonely experience. Loneliness. See, you should be concerned and feel bad for my loneliness. But there's not a lot of comps, if any, to what it is that I do in the space that I'm in. And that requires a lot. And it's a responsibility to like the next generation, because someone else very, very high up in the business, I was telling them about this and they kind of said the same thing in a different way. They were like, you can't do that. You are not allowed to do that. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, if I want to retire, I want to retire. And they were like, no, you can't retire.
There's power, I think, in you being able to walk away and be like, you accomplished, as you said earlier, dreams that you've wanted to. You stand in a space where you stand alone, where you're one of one. So there's power in being able to be like, I'll walk away from it. But then there's also giving a little bit of power, I think, away to people who would love to see you just walk away.
Well, I mean, yeah, to those people, don't get excited. I'm not doing it right now. I'll be bothering you for a few more years, especially the male lonelies. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's like a lot of things. I think it's the political climate. I think it is being famous, whatever that means, has changed.
You're tired.
I'm exhausted. I'm very exhausted. There's no question about that. I'm exhausted. But I'm not exhausted from things I want to be exhausted from. Like there's a good exhaustion, right? Like I created man. It's so now I'm gonna rest, right? Like I'm God. That kind of exhaustion.
How you know God was
tired?
No,
He's
not
tired?
tired, but how you know he felt good about it?
He doesn't actually regretted it. I believe that. I don't know what verse that is. One version of the Bible, probably not the Trump one, but it does say that he regrets making man.
He might have looked and been like, yo, man, I didn't get this right.
No, he did say. He said it. Can you look it up, Haley?
And then the people saw that wilding like right away.
He regretted his choice.
Immediately.
No, I'm exhausted. But I think I think a lot of people, since there are no gender issues, I think a lot of people are exhausted. I think there's an exhaustion from the news cycle. I think there's an exhaustion of this like heaviness feeling just in the world right now. Everyone's mad all the time about something like raw milk or vaccines or men or women or whatever. The Lakers, someone is mad all the time. And on top of the problems, on top of trying to pay your bills, on top of like all these things, just like a thing every day, you're also still want to be like a nice, good person to people who are shitty. You want to feel empathy for people who are in war. But if you feel that, then there's consequences to that. Like everything is just a lot. And it doesn't seem to feel like there is a relief space, which is why like I personally go dark, and that's like my reset for things. Like I consume because that's a space that I'm in. And then I'll just be like, all right, we're taking a break from this. Like we're gonna pretend like the world is not collapsing and just reboot. But yeah, I don't know. I think also like as I get older, I care about certain things less than I used to. And I prioritize things that matter to me more. My family always obviously mattered to me, but like I just want to be with them. I want to be with my friends. I want to do things I enjoy. But I do feel conflicted in a little ways. It's funny that you say that, Rachel, because like it feels a little self-important to be like, well, my voice matters. Like I need to keep this platform and talk about things, because even though my dear friend Van thinks I only talk about men, but I think I have carved a space where, especially in sports, I can bring a perspective as a woman that is important. Like there's conversations I've been able to have over my career that I know are extremely impactful, like domestic violence. Because, for example, when the Ray Rice thing happened, the conversation was spiraling out of control. It was one of the first times we had ever really talked about domestic violence publicly. And I had never talked about, my family didn't even know what had happened to me. And I was able to not just talk about it from a firsthand experience, but put a real face to domestic violence for people who had assumptions about what a domestic violence survivor looked like, or sounded like, or acted like, or lived like. And that has been something that I know has been impactful, because it's very difficult to talk about those things. But when you're in a space where there are men who are unaware of how to have those conversations, what questions to ask, are afraid to have those conversations because they don't want to say the wrong thing, to be able to just freely speak about that and move the conversation forward from a unfortunate, firsthand perspective, that's been, amongst many other conversations, something that I have been able to bring to the table. And I don't know, do you ever get like to the space where you're like, is it my responsibility to be here?
You mean in the space?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I feel that way for sure. Sometimes.
You feel that way?
When I'm exhausted, when I'm tired, it's like that's when you start questioning things, right? So for sure. I feel like we've talked about this.
Talk about what?
Like you question like what you're doing, or should you be in this
well,
space?
just like,
or like
do you feel, because it feels so, I try to be self-aware, and it feels self-important to be like, yeah, like I'm important to the business, and I'm important to the culture, and I'm important to the conversation, because I have this platform where I have certain freedoms and abilities, and I have certain experiences that I can speak to that everyone doesn't have the ability to do.
Can I just say I've never once, having had the microphone, thought that I was what I had. I was so self-important. Right. I never look at it that way. I look at it as the privilege to have a platform and use it in the right way. So like even when I was talking about when you were like, yeah, Rachel took up for me, it's like, well, I am in a space where I can speak freely, and I'm not really beholden to anybody, and I can step up in a way that I think should be, that most people can't. And like that is, I feel responsibility more than I feel self-important.
Yeah, maybe responsibility is the right word.
And that becomes exhausting when you feel like you have to keep doing it. Or when people, and I know you feel this way too, when people are like, why haven't you said something about this? Why are you not speaking out about this? Why? Because of what we do, there does become this high responsibility of you have to always be on it when there's a particular subject, when there's an issue. And I guess it's a gift and a curse, right? They want to hear from you, but then you feel the weight of you have to do it at the same time.
Yeah, that bothers me just because I don't like being told what to do. Like, you don't tell me what
God.
to talk about. But I'm a yapper. I'm a yapping ass yap nigga. Like I'm a yapster. You know, there's a guy over here, one of our security guys. I want to bring you over to him because he saw me on your pod and he was like, man, bro, what Joy Taylor like, bro? And I was like, what do you mean by that? He was like, no, but you know, I'm a fan. And then me and him stood there and we talked. I'm a yapper. So I see something and I cannot wait to discuss it. But not because I think.
What did you say?
Huh? What?
What did you say?
You stood there.
There's
and
one
then
way
what?
I describe Joy. Joy is a cool ass nigga. And I think that really like a cool ass nigga though. Like a nigga. You said something, I'm not gonna repeat it, but like when we first started, you said something and I laughed so fucking hard when you said it. I was like, Joy just a cool ass nigga. And I think so many people have they think so much stuff. And I'm like, I just know so many people that people don't really know that well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That so many people don't really. The people that ask me about Rachel, I'll be like, yo, that's a nigga. Like that's a Negro, a Black American Negro right there. But I just like to talk. I think for me, it happens. What happens sometimes is I think that I'm always shocked just how voiceless people feel. Just like how people they feel like there's so much going on in their world, and either they don't have the words or they don't have the platform to speak to anyone, and no one is listening to them. So when you talk to somebody and they go, man, like I really appreciated what you said. I can't really think of any times in my life where I've appreciated something that someone said. I've always been like, shit, I wish I could talk to that person about this, no matter what it is. So, but to you though, is like, remember what Chris Christopherson said to Sinead O'Connor? Don't let the bastards get you down. Remember that? She was walking off stage and he came up to her. Don't let the bastards get you down. You can't leave now, Joy.
I'm not leaving. I don't want to get everybody excited.
Yeah.
Like I'm not leaving. But one day I'm gonna shave my head and disappear.
Like Sinead. Okay, before you leave, give us your top five finest niggas in the game right now.
What?
Yeah.
He really wants you to be all about men.
Yeah.
You're starting this propaganda.
Finest niggas in the game. Who you on right now?
Fine, I don't compliment men.
We out.
She's decentered.
Decentered. I was just joking about that.
Do you believe you should compliment men?
I will compliment my man.
Yeah. But like men. Like you should like. Have you ever complimented a man that like?
Yes, I have.
And
I
you
have.
like see them transform into like full villains from that compliment?
I have seen them fully feel themselves after the compliment
like,
for sure. But
I do
compliment
that
men.
Shirt.
I do compliment.
Yeah,
them.
I do too. I break this rule all the time because I'm nice and I love men.
Well, I mean, there's one reason why that exists, right? Most men are just waiting for any hint that you're ready to fuck.
No.
It's like
I'm talking about like that's not it.
Hold on.
We've derailed again.
We're not derailing. I'm saying most men are like, because even a man,
you have this incredible ability to like to create the conversation you want to have.
I'm telling you guys, I'm being for real. Most men,
like male lonelies, became like just genuine good guys.
45 minutes.
I'm just being for real. I'm not saying genuine
like
good guys. I'm saying it's a deeper
love.
issue. I'm saying most guys, they'll be on they're on the elevator, and you know they might be male lonely. They might be one of these born lames or whatever. And you go, wow, that's a really nice shirt.
I would never say nothing nice to a man on the elevator.
And
that's
then,
crazy.
And then
I like my life. I like being alive.
They go, oh my God, does Joy fucking love me?
Is that what happens in your brain?
I mean, not me.
To the lonely man on the elevator.
I would never.
Yes.
I would never. Listen, let me tell you something about elevators. Since Van thinks it's women's responsibility, don't do nothing weird in an elevator. Okay, we're in an elevator in San Francisco. We're riding up the elevator. All right, me, Haley, another woman, minding our Black business. And this man's on the elevator And he's like, where are you guys going?
Mm-mm.
Where are you guys staying? It took everything in me not to just in his neck, just neck action.
What did he look like?
He was a white, but it doesn't matter.
Nah, it
Why
does
are
matter.
you asking me questions in a fucking elevator? I'm clearly staying here.
Let me
Now
tell-
I gotta kill you.
Predatory
I'ma
questions.
give you
I gotta get a new room
I'ma
because
give-
you know what floor we're
y'all were
staying
in a
on.
hotel
Hey,
too?
hey,
Yes.
Oh,
I'ma give you guys
no.
an
We're in the
example.
hotel
That's
going to
terrifying.
our
I'm gonna be
room.
honest
I would've
with
gone
you
back
guys.
down
I'm
to
gonna
the
be honest
lobby.
with you guys.
Yeah, I've
I would've
already
been like-
pushed the floor.
That situation.
I'm like, let this bitch ass man get up.
Bitch
See,
ass man. See?
let this bitch ass man
That's
Okay.
who
the question
who
is
acts
bitch
weird
ass.
on the
Can I
elevator
say
get
something?
off on this floor.
Can I
Remember
say
this?
something?
Do you remember this, Ellie? Yeah.
That right there is completely dependent on the man. I'll tell you how I learned this.
Nah.
I was with this dude named Niles. Niles was an Englishman. Niles had more Riz. We didn't even call it Riz back then. Niles was that motherfucker. One time, Niles looked at me and he was like, how much your socks cost? And I was like, I have no idea. He goes, that's the difference. I was like, fuck. That was a diss, but I respected it. He was like, that's the difference, right? Me and Niles were sitting in a bar called the Hudson, West Hollywood. Englishman. He was over here. He worked in finance in London. He's talking to these two girls. He's like, where do you guys live? And they went, oh, we live in WeHo, Koreatown. He goes, no, I'm in exact address. They burst into laughter. He meant, I mean, exact address. I'm coming by. They burst into, because it was Niles. Let somebody else, like the nigga that was on the thing, would have said that. If Michael B. Jordan pulls that line on you,
It's also who he's saying it to. Like, if we had been the two girls at the bar, it would have been a totally different
they
conversation.
burst into laughter. You let somebody else say that. Oh my God, Daddy, what happened? But he said it, and it worked.
Don't listen to anything
That
that Van has
shit
said
worked.
in the last
I'm
3
telling you,
minutes.
the most
Van is
important
setting
thing-
you up
The most important thing
for
for y'all niggas to know
failure.
is who y'all are and who y'all aren't.
who you are and who you aren't. And you're
and
not
who you're dealing
and who
with.
you're dealing with. Because
That's-
you're
it's
not
who you're
what's his
dealing
name,
with.
Niles. And you're not talking
would love
to
him.
you're not talking to two
I know
chuckleheads
you,
at the
nigga.
bar.
I
I've
know
come
you.
home. We've discussed this.
You would love him because he got the little gray now.
I do love gray hair.
Like he got the little gray
I
now.
love gray
Niles
hair.
was on the
Love
thing.
gray
with
hair.
the-
I love some
Niles
salt and
got the-
pepper.
Now
I love some salt and
Niles got
pepper.
the McLaren now. Like you love him. But he goes, no, I mean exact address.
Where's Niles? I was just about to say exact address.
Yeah.
Where's Niles?
He
Exact
lives
address.
in Brussels.
If
How many
you,
niggas you know that live in
if
Brussels?
a
That's my
man
nigga
asks
now.
me for my exact address, it's gonna be a really bad
Depends
day
on the man.
for
I
that.
swear
No,
to God. Depends
no.
on the man.
no.
Do you
A
understand how
stranger?
terrifying
Depends on the
that
A
is?
stranger?
The finest man could walk through and ask for. I'm like, you're crazy.
Well, how fine do you think men are?
even if
like, I
know,
I
but
feel
but,
like
but y'all
I've met.
but y'all have to
I feel like
understand.
I've met all of the fine men that exist.
Yeah, there's not
like,
one.
There's not a
one.
man who is fine enough to be a
I'm scared
stranger
for my
and
life.
ask me for my address.
You would laugh. I know
I
you.
think you're underestimating
I know.
the
Damn.
amount.
You
I think you're
don't-
I know
underestimating
you
the
like
amount.
Some toxics. You like some toxics.
Listen,
I do like
I'm
toxic,
sure-
which
I'm
is
sure
why
he's
I'm riding this
wonderfully
out for the rest
toxic.
of the year.
Yeah, I know
I'm
you
sure
do
he's
that.
wonderfully toxic.
Like, he's
but-
actually a nice guy.
Sure,
He just knew that line would work because he knew what was up.
man.
He knew who he was dealing
The
with.
amount
That's
of
what I'm
dick
saying.
that gets thrown around on a day-to-day basis is astronomical.
But what kind of dick?
All varieties of dick.
It-
High-end
it-
dick, low-end dick, male-only dick,
Y'all can't tell.
tiny dick, big dick.
Y'all can't.
There's no dick big enough or heavy enough
It has
and there's
nothing
no
to
man
do with
fine
the
stranger
heaviness of it.
to,
It
to
has to do-
ask me
it
as
has
a
to-
stranger
Man,
what
this
my
is
address
ludicrous.
is
It
and for me to laugh.
He said it in a joking, I got game way, and the reality was
it's not a funny joke.
the reality was this is the deal. What I know is that y'all put up with shit from the desirable men that you don't put up with
Well,
from the guys.
Of course.
All right, that's the point.
That is not
Niles,
the
I'm
point.
sorry.
Don't listen to
Like,
Van.
you also put
Don't
up
act
with
weird in
stuff
elevators
once you're
and
already
don't ask
in
people
it.
for their
Bleep
You're
his
addresses.
already
name.
in it. Not
Bleep
some
his name.
random
Niles, I
stranger. We gotta
apologize,
go.
bro.
We gotta go.
We gotta get out of
We
here.
gotta
Now,
go.
Hey, I fuck with you too, bro. Remember, I appreciate that thing you did for me. All right, Joy, we love you. We appreciate you.
Love you guys too.
Thank you for joining us on Higher Learning. That's the end of the show. You think caps off, but do not stop learning. I'm Van Lathan Jr.
I'm Rachel and Lindsay.
Hi guys.